under a minute here. So just hang out. We'll be right with you. Hey everyone, welcome lovely listeners to another enchanting episode of Buzzing About Romance, the podcast, where we delve into the heartwarming world of love, passion, and everything in between the pages. I am your host, Becky, and joining me for this episode are Jenny, Leah, and Amanda. Welcome to the podcast.
I can't.
What can't you do?
Oh my God, I can't.
My face is so red because I can't stop laughing.
She didn't even get like 3 words in. Because I read it earlier. And so I just honestly I was waiting to see what tone she used when she said it.
I am going for my Delilah tone next week. Just you.
Delilah.
Oh, no. Not next week, because next week we have actual guests. The week after.
Oh, yeah, we can't do it then.
Watch out. I'm bringing Delilah back in the
I used to
soft
love
bubble
Delilah.
bath voice.
You know, a lot of people listening probably don't know who Delilah is.
Probably
Well,
not, because we're old.
Because we're old.
She's still around, I think.
Is she
Is
still
she?
around?
Really?
Yeah, I
But
mean,
who listens to the radio anymore?
exactly. I'm like, for people that listen to the radio.
Again, our age, though.
Our age. Okay. Segment time. It is Gretchen's Corner, the romance term of the week.
This is true. We should just call it Gretchen's Corner.
We should.
Gretchen's Corner. This week's term of the week is Black romance, which is really a good one to bring up because I do think that this is one that there can be a little bit of confusion on.
I agree.
So, Black romance defined typically refers to romance novels or stories that center around Black characters and explore their experience, relationship, and cultural backgrounds. It is a subgenre of romantic literature that focuses on characters of African descent. If one of the characters is biracial, it would be referred to as a multicultural romance or interracial romance to encompass stories featuring characters from the different racial backgrounds. Because the focus is heavy on the experience of the characters, you should seek out stories written by someone who has that same experience. The key is for the story to be respectful, authentic, and well-crafted in its portrayal of the characters and their relationship and even their cultural backgrounds. So books, Gretchen then asked if we could give some book recs that are Black romance book recs. So I have a couple. Fumbled by Alexa Martin. Did anybody else read that? It's a football romance. The audiobook's phenomenal. Highly recommend it.
I
The
think I
name
have.
The Neighbor Favor by Christina Forrest. Real by Kennedy Ryan, which we all read and loved.
Well, and the audiobook is amazing.
Amazing. Absolutely. Holding by Alexandria House. Again, amazing audiobook. And an all-black hockey team. I'm telling you, so good. And the audio is in Hoopla. My girl crush, Wesley Shaban, reads it. And then Inevitable Seduction by Christina C. Jones. Christina C. Jones is my current obsession. I have like 3 other audiobooks of hers now that I need to read. The Hookup Plan, which is book 3, and The Boyfriend Project by Farah Rakan is also Black love. And then I downloaded the other week a new novella, We Never Go Out of Style by Tanzania Glover. And it has this, it has this really pretty cover. They don't have
I
eyes.
saw that one.
Well, sort of they have eyes. She's wearing a veil. Anyway,
Well, but do they have like side eye? Like,
they have slits.
Their eyes are closed, right?
Yeah. Yeah, they have
wait,
slits.
that's the one they're like kissing or something. isn't
Uh-huh.
it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's totally eyes there, but like the way that the image is done, like you can get away with like the line. Like
Yeah.
they paid for eyes.
The audiobook is really, really good. She's a Hollywood dresser, and he's like
Ooh.
a Hollywood star, and they have a history.
Fun.
It was really good. Anyway,
Dun, dun, dun.
so now on to our episode.
On to the episode.
Okay. In the realm of romance novels, we often witness the captivating dance of hearts and discovery of soulmates. But what about the bond formed beyond blood ties? Today, we're unwrapping the layers of affection, camaraderie, and unconditional support that comes together to create beautiful mosaics known as found families. Whether it's a group of friends evolving into a tight-knit circle, a ragtag team facing life's challenges, or an unexpected alliance that blossoms into something profound, the idea of found family adds a special touch to our beloved romance narratives. So buckle up as we embark on a journey through the pages of novels where love extends far beyond romantic entanglements. Get ready for heartwarming tales, unforgettable characters, and the joy of discovery that sometimes family is not just something we're born into, but something we find along the way. Today's episode is all about the magic, guys, of found family in the world of romance novels. Stay tuned because love knows no bound, and neither does the family we choose. Scene. Just kidding.
That's a good one.
It's
It
good.
was like somebody's
it's
putting
good.
their degree to work.
Listen, I am here for you, Leah. You have inspired me to do these intros, these segments bigger and better each week.
You're welcome.
I mean, are we?
I don't know. That's why it was more of a question than a statement.
I mean, everybody's just laughing.
I mean, that's what we're here for, really. That is what we're here for. The laughter.
The laughter. We're a rom-com, Amanda. In case the question comes up, we're a rom-com.
Yes, we will not be having heavy thoughts here today.
Although, okay, so let's.
I mean, it's still early.
It is. Well, hopefully nobody cries.
Wow.
No.
There might be tears of laughter.
Right.
Yeah.
Nobody crying. Okay, let's define found family because this is a quandary for me.
Why is it a quandary?
Well, okay. So I asked this later in my category sections, but we'll go ahead and just start it right now. Found family is one of those, I feel like almost every book we read has some element or aspect of found family.
Yes,
I would agree. Yeah.
So, because, if you think about a girl gang's a found family.
it is.
But I guess what we need to know is what defines found family, because one of the questions that I asked was, do you think a DNA family series can have found family elements, or is that different? And what I'm thinking of is, if you look at Carrie Ann Ryan and the Montgomerys, or Carrie Ann Ryan and the Wilders, and the way she writes these long, complicated family series, as people get married and add a significant other, they're kind of brought into the family. That's not their that's not their DNA family.
I think it depends on how the introduction and the relationship of the significant others translates. I feel like you can have a DNA family and the significant others, like they have a good relationship, but you don't feel that chemistry between them that you do in other types of found families, like ones where like that connection and that dialogue between them adds like more of an element. Like the Wilders, like yes, like the women have really good relationships, but I wouldn't consider that one found family because the basis of like their story is the family relationship.
Yeah. No, I don't disagree with you. It's one of those where I just think the concept of found family is actually really broad, because even if we look at
Mhm.
like Catherine Cowell's series, like this Lost and Found or
Mhm.
Tattered and Torn, those books all take place around a group of siblings,
Right.
and they bring in their significant others, and sometimes the significant others have connections to other members of the actual family. So is that just growing the family,
Mhm.
or is it found family? Because in the eyes of, say, the heroine, the one that was her parents or her dad was the head of the prepper cult, like for
Mhm.
her, this is a
Oh
new
yeah.
family.
It is, but the basic cushion, the basic DNA basically of that series is the familial bond between those siblings. Like if it wasn't for that, that series wouldn't have happened.
Yeah.
So I feel like that's where like you get that DNA family with found family elements instead of like found family dynamic, because like the sibling relationships are a much bigger part of that than adding in that exterior person.
So, Amanda, I'll pose this question to you. Do you think that the foundation of the found family needs to be friendship based in order for it to be true found family?
I think it depends. Like, because when we talk about like the family series, I think it's how you feel when you read them. Because I would say, like, take Marie Johnston, for example. Like her oil barons to me, like the additional, the girlfriends or like the significant others, like I don't look at them as like a found family, like because they don't have that tight bond, even though two of them are friends. But the way
Mhm.
she's setting up the new one with you know, is it the oil knights? Yeah, the oil
Oil
knights.
Knights, yeah.
Like the three significant others so far are like they're much more tight knit. So
Hmm.
like that kind of feels a little found family-ish to me. So I think you can have a DNA family with feelings of found family, but I wouldn't necessarily categorize it as a found family. So like if I'm shelving in my Goodreads, like that's going to be a family series to me. So I guess I would say that it more needs to be like a group of friends, really, for me to put it on my found family shelf.
So, Jenny, you read Jay Salmon's her Edge of Chaos series?
I have not.
You've not read that one. Okay, because I was going to use that as kind of an example of two of the characters in that series are siblings, or brother and sister. And so does that change? Only two of them are family. So then would the whole of that series be found family? Because they all have these interconnecting, but it's also a professional based relationship more than a tight.
But it was professional by choice, though, wasn't it?
It was.
So, I mean, that's something too. Like, but why, like the coworker aspect, like for the professional aspect, and I know we're just kind of jumping around like the groupings here, but like, is there a reason they came together as coworkers or like in that professional setting, or was it they were kind of forced into it, then the bond came after the fact, or did they create the setting because of a bond that they had going into it? I feel like that like kind of changes the dynamic of it as well.
So Jenny, what
Yeah, I think it.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh,
No,
I
go
think
ahead.
it's the level of support. Like, what kind of support you're getting from the people that are in your found family. If they're just like the person you can call and go to coffee with, or are they the person that like, hey, I need to go to the hospital. Can you take me or take my kid? Like,
Or
there's
I
different
need you to
levels.
bury the body.
Yeah, that's a good
Yeah,
point.
yeah. So you can like I'm close with my sister-in-law, but she's probably not going to be the first person I call to like bury a body.
It's me. It's me is who she's calling to bury the body.
Well, we already got a plan. So.
That's true. We know where there are pigs. It's all safe. It's good. Amanda's like, what am I doing here?
I grew up on a farm. I know where the pigs are.
See? Okay, so Jenny, elements you expect to see then in a found family romance. If I hand you a book and say this is a perfect example of found family, what are you seeing? Also, can a standalone romance be a found family if we're not getting a whole series of the characters?
Right. I think it is harder to have a standalone that is found family. It can be done, but it's tricky because you got to build, like I said, that support. Like, sometimes you can start with the group of like maybe 3 or 4 people, and then they kind of like accumulate people as they go along. So there's kind of like that already built in like level of support. But yeah, I think it has to be a series and that you have to see like the relationships outside the like romantic relationship develop. Like you got to see them. They can't always be with their significant other interacting with the other people.
Yeah. Well, and I think that sometimes gets lost. I think romantic love and what found family love is sometimes get lost. Even if you have two kind of lost souls that come together and are going to have the HEA, that's just romantic love. There has to be some kind of community, some kind of foundation, some kind of network of humans that are there to help them. And they have to work and function as a group. I honestly believe one of the best examples of found family is Menahaven.
You were going
I
to say
knew
that.
it.
That's why I didn't put it on my list.
Well, I wondered if you were going to have it on your list, Amanda.
If you didn't say it, I would
I'm
have.
surprised it took this long to bring it up.
But it is,
it is a good
Jenny
example.
hasn't read it because she sucks.
Have not.
I mean, Jenny, it's disappointing.
Whatever. Claims to be my best friend, but questions.
Hey, I'm getting out of the Jeep though, so.
That's right. You get to get out of the Jeep while I go over the edge. Or maybe she's poisoning my dinner in June. We don't know.
Anything is possible.
Anything is possible.
Yes, I agree.
So Menahaven is the epitome of example of found family. There is no connection tying these men together truly. I mean, there's
How many books?
They want to be with each other.
Yeah.
I mean, they
How
have
many-
history, but
Yeah, I mean, what is it?
Axel and
Axel and
Jace.
Jace.
they were best friends growing up and their moms were best friends.
Yeah. So that's the original
But
tie,
that's like
but then
the
everybody else
basis of
is,
it.
yeah.
Yeah. And the moms raised their boys together. But there was nothing tying them to each other. But then they
Mm-mm.
built this whole world and community and home, and then it went to business.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it takes place over 7 books, but by the end of book 1, you 100% know that these people are ride or die for the rest of their lives.
Oh yeah.
Mhm. Well, and that's the thing, like you have to have that ride or die element. And like sometimes like when it's just the DNA family with those added significant others, you don't always feel that ride or die. Sometimes you do, and I love that. But sometimes like you don't have that, like I'll bury the body for you.
So, interesting question posed. Best friends are found family. I don't think always they are.
No.
Not always. No.
Particularly, so I look at one of those family series that's kind of in question of, is it found family, is it not found family, is Lexi Ryan's Boys of Jackson Harbor,
Mhm.
because the boys and the sister are all the Jackson siblings.
Mhm.
But many of the heroes, well, the
The
heroines
heroines.
are best friends with the heroes, and the heroine, the one sister, her hero is their best friend. But
Mhm.
that's really just a family series.
Well, and the dynamic in that series is very different than a found family series. Like, there's a lot more tension
Yeah.
that you don't often get in the found family. And I feel like that's a significant like piece of it too, because like family series, like there's always like that, not always, but sometimes there's that underlying tension of the siblings that you don't necessarily get in the found family. And the significant others often like get stuck in that tension unintentionally because that's what happens with like a spouse.
So,
And so that's where some of that dynamic changes with it.
do you think family series, Amanda, have more tension and angst than a found family series?
Yes. I think that, well, the ones that I read typically do. I think you get a little less of that tension in a found family because these are the people that you're choosing, and you can't really choose your family. So,
Mhm.
and then also you grow up with that dynamic of growing up with each other, which,
There's
there's
less
always kind of,
there's less history too. There's
yeah,
less bad blood.
yeah, I agree.
So here are some subgenres that I came up with that I think we tend to see found family in most common.
Mhm.
Um, so first up, I think one of the easiest to identify found family in are sports romance because you have that team dynamic. But I don't always think so because
Mhm.
as I was looking at, found family type dynamics, and I was looking at Sawyer Bennett's Pittsburgh Titan series, not all of those have found family vibes. Because
But I
especially with
but
this
I
new
think
book, they're
but I
kind.
think I think with Titans though, like the start of the series was completely different. And so it's like you're rebuilding that. Like, so say it had like she had the crash happen and the series started 5 years after the crash, like after the team had already rebuilt, I feel like you would have a different dynamic than you do during the rebuild itself because everybody's still reeling from it, like they're still in the present. So had there been a time gap, the found family element would feel different.
But she's also writing a book, like the coach's book. We got the owner's
Mhm.
book. Now we're getting the general manager's book.
Right.
It's almost like two camps. So, I read Callum, and we'll talk about it later, but it definitely has found family vibe because he has no connection anymore. He was raised by a single mom. He has really no connection left to her. So Pittsburgh is his home. Pittsburgh is his
Mhm.
family. But that's there by work.
Yeah.
So, um, Okay, so sports romances that have found family vibes. Do you have anything?
Elise Faber does really good found family in her Breakers hockey series and her Gold hockey series because of the dynamic. Like I've said dynamic like 17 times tonight already. I will try to find a new
Do
word.
you need a thesaurus, Leah?
Clearly. But the relationship that she creates with these two teams and the way that they engage with each other, honestly, especially in the Gold, it's like the Gold gossip chain text that you get, and it like nothing can happen without everybody knowing. And so like she does that found family vibe really, really well in her hockey series. I mean, really in any of her series that doesn't have DNA family, she is actually very good at, but those two like definitely stand out.
Um, what about you, Amanda? What do you got for sports?
So I did the Lightning series by Tracy Wolff, even though it's only the 3 books, with the Down and Dirty and Rough and Ready. I felt like those 3 guys were like really tight. Like I felt
That
like
yeah.
they feel like family.
Well, and it's interesting too in that one because we talk about how the Titans doesn't, even though there's like a shared trauma.
Mhm.
San Diego definitely that Tracy Wolf series definitely has that really dynamic, like team. Look, I'm
Yeah,
using the word dynamic now.
I'm sorry.
It has that strong sense of team.
yeah, it does. And the 3 guys, and I'm just blanking on their names right now, Tanner and forget the guy in the first one. But yeah, you just feel like they're really good friends because big things happen especially in the first book, and the other 2 guys that are in that are on the team, like they're there
They just
for
show
each
up.
other.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Jenny, what sports romances do you have that you found family in, and what is it that brings them together as found family?
So Cambria Herbert, her hashtag series would probably be my like #1 found family, but a lot of her sports and non-sports have found family like is really big with her. And I think it's more of like there's this outside element that like the significant other can't always be there to support the other main character. So you see their best friend step in and that relationship develop more.
I went with Gina Aziz Boston Hawks series. The
That's a good one.
first 2 books, or 3 books technically, are some blood relations in them. But by the time we get to Torrin's book, which I think is book 4, it really defines found family. And that's the interesting thing too. I don't think you can use a book 1 to define it as a found family series.
I think it depends.
Really hard.
well, are you talking about just in sports? Because we were just talking about the Minnehaven, like book 1, you can tell it's a found
Yeah,
family
I'm
series.
talking just in sports.
Just in
Just
sports.
in
Okay.
sports. I'm sorry. Yeah,
Okay.
just in sports. I'm just talking.
I I think with sports, like you can kind of start building that foundation of it, but you really get the gist of it like as the series progresses. And I think that was one thing Gina did really well in her Boston Hawks is she really used that sibling connection like to build the foundation of everything and then built on that.
Yeah.
But even Danica's um hockey
Her
series. Like
Bulldogs.
yeah, her Bulldog series. Like there's some sibling connections in it. And like so you have those elements, but like those, like that's kind of a byproduct of like the series itself. But I feel like Danica really like creates a good found family world in her hockey series too.
Well, and sometimes the team like creates like I don't know, the environment to develop a found
Mm-hmm.
family, right? Like they're usually like a subgroup of characters from
Mm-hmm.
the
Yeah.
team.
No, I agree. And it's you really do many times in these found family series. There is 1 or 2 siblings because we have to have a siblings best
Yeah.
friend romance. Like
It's true.
I mean, it just happens. But again, I think that that's part of the reason that I didn't pick mafia romance to give found family Rex, because inevitably those are all blood ties.
Well, but if they're not blood ties, like there's blood ties, like
Right.
you know what I mean?
Right. Okay, so romantic suspense. It isn't all romantic suspense. All romantic suspense does not have found family vibes because, like we said, we talked about Tattered and Torn series from Catherine Cowell. That's blood and DNA family, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
So we're looking specifically when this is team or security force, which is kind of also the same as like coworkers,
Yeah.
Yeah, in a
like men in
sense.
arms.
Mm-hmm.
But and it,
Well, but
go ahead.
it depends because Nissa Catherine, her first series is her Project Arma series. Now it's found family, but these like this group of guys come together because they had been taken and genetically altered. And when they escaped this project, like then they created their own like firm and gym and all that stuff. But it's like their shared trauma is what created their relationship, like the basis of the relationship for their like series. And like they bond in like who they are because they were all in the military. They bond over that, but they also bond over what happened to them.
So, so is that something we have to see, Amanda, then? Is like a shared trauma or a shared bond in order for it to be found family?
No, I don't think so. And I mean, no one's going to be surprised, but Briley Edwards is obviously my romantic suspense one. So she starts hers the 707. And they were just in the military together. And when they got out,
Mhm.
they formed a security force. They didn't have any trauma. They just decided to settle down in a small town, and well, not really small town, but outside of the base in Georgia. And then so that one, even it starts out like found family with these four guys, and then it spins off into all of their children, which kind of
Mhm.
creates a family series. And then that spins off from their significant others into another found family series.
Yeah,
So
she's
I
going all
think,
over the
yeah,
place.
I mean, yeah, it's like, I mean, you go from one to the other. So, but yeah, I don't think it has to be a trauma. These guys just kind of got out of the service and decided they were going to go into business together. There was no trauma.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Jenny, do you have a romantic suspense found family rec?
Cyber Security by April White and the Smarty Pants romance. I'm still trying to get
Shocking.
Becky to read.
I haven't read it yet. I haven't.
And that's when you see like the found family develop from the like first book on. Like they're not. I mean, some of the characters work together, but they're not hanging out together until.
Um, I I would say for me under romantic suspense, I had two, but it kind of the first half of the series starts as
Family.
family. But then as the series continues on, you find out it's this whole big security force, this whole big security company. Um, and I'm talking about the KGI series by
But we
Maya
still
Banks.
don't get the one book that we need.
But I mean, it is brothers in arms. It
Mhm.
is, but it's women in arms too. Like there are women snipers and sharpshooters and um
Well, and I think that one, the way the series progresses, is like the older siblings, and there's a gap, and there is like the found family ones come in, and then like some of the younger siblings come back. So like she kind of bounces around with that one. So like the feel of that series is more found family because it's not like family, 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 then the rest. It's
right.
like family, family, other people, family,
Yeah.
family, no sister.
No sister.
Well, and that might be like an element of it. Like it can morph, right? Like
Right.
from
Mhm.
one to another. Like you might start out with the DNA family, but by the time you get to the end of the series, they're more found family.
Yeah. The other series that is on my list is the Underground King series by Aurora Rose Reynolds.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, that's a good
Those
one.
three guys have nothing, connecting them but business and the desire to keep their women safe.
Mhm.
Um, and so I mean, but that's who you're calling. I'm calling Sven to bury the body.
Oh yeah.
I'm calling Keegan to shoot someone. I mean, so
I don't know. I think Kai would be more apt to shoot somebody.
do you think
He'd be a little more sneaky about
he
it.
might be? So yeah, I think Aurora Rose Reynolds, the Underground King series, is a really great example. Not necessarily security force, not necessarily a team, but it is romantic suspense and absolutely has found family vibes.
Well, and I think that's the thing. Like for romantic suspense, you don't necessarily need to have that team element. Like you can have the team essence, but still not have it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Heather brings up, which I had, my other one was The Fury Brothers by Anna Hackett.
Mm-hmm.
So they're not really brothers.
Okay.
You know, they grow up in
They're foster
they're
brothers.
foster
Yeah.
brothers. So they all get put into the same foster home, and then when they get out, they adopt, or they all change their last name to Fury and become brothers, and they all have different businesses and whatever, and then they're kind of, you know, they're taking care of their extended family down in New Orleans. And it's definitely a suspense series or whatever, but they're definitely brothers by choice. It's not a
Mm-hmm.
Not a
DNA
DNA.
family,
Yeah,
and they're
and
not
they
a security
all
force.
they all do different things. Like they all have
Yes.
different jobs.
One's a club owner, one's a bounty hunter, one runs like a finance group, and I forget what the other
I
one
can't
does.
wait till this book comes
Oh,
out.
he's a trainer. He's a boxer. I'm
Mhm.
ready for that one. Yes.
So, group of coworkers for found family. And I actually am using the What Hurts Us, Heals Us, Saves Us series by Maggie Gates. They all don't necessarily work together. Some of them do, but they work within that same first responder. I don't think,
World.
well, and I guess technically the hero from book 2 is the brother to the heroine in book 3. So there is some blood, but it's found family. Like there's no, outside of, you know, the crazy BJ. She's their age. BJ, just wait, you guys. What saves us is the book club pick, and BJ's nuts.
She's a force.
She's nuts. But I think that's coworker. And I do think that when we look at first responder romances, like firefighters and stuff like that, we tend to have those sense of found families.
Mm-hmm.
Right. It's
Yeah, I
again
agree.
that like you've seen some things, right? Like
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Okay, Amanda, what do you have for group of coworkers that are also found family?
So I'm going to ask Jenny. Jenny, you don't have Melanie, do you?
Oh, I
Yours?
had her on my list, but I have
Okay,
others,
I'll
so
change
you're
mine
good.
then. That's fine. I
No,
can change it.
no.
Just we can say more than one book. You can say several books. I wasn't
Okay.
like trying to stunt you to one choice.
No, I just didn't want to. If that's who Jenny had, I didn't want to like steal
No,
it.
I
from her.
have
Just
I have
steal
another
it.
really
Steal
good
it,
one.
Jenny.
Yeah, take it.
Steal it, Amanda.
Okay.
Steal it.
So I have Reynolds Restoration by Melanie Moreland.
Oh, see, that's not even the one I had.
That's not the one you had. Okay, so there we go.
You had
All right. So yeah.
Jenny had Bam.
Yep.
So I mean, it starts out with just Max, and then he builds his team when he brings in the other guys, and I think they definitely become found family.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
Especially those scenes where all the children are there now and
Yeah.
every celebration. 100%.
Well, and that's the thing. It's like the kids in that series like really like create like a stronger bond between like the adults there too. And I think that's an element that is interesting to see too, is how they interact with the second generation.
Yeah. Leah, what do you have for coworkers?
So Jennifer Hanks has a spin-off series from her DeMarco's. It's called Elite Security. So two of the brothers actually open this firm, and the series is all of the employees underneath them. So like the brothers had their books in the original series, and then it's like a security firm. They work in the gray sometimes. But it's the connection that they create like with each other and with the family like of the original series themselves that really creates this great, like it's just adding on to the DeMarco family and as a whole.
Okay. Jenny?
Synergy Office Romance by Michelle McGraw. So Jackson and Cooper like start up like a tech startup when they're in college. I think it's 6 books, yes. People have a really hard time like keeping office life at home and romance life. Yeah. Like keeping the two separate, I should say. And so like you see it develop like as they each like pair off and how the relationships impact the relationships afterwards.
I had an idea in my head and I lost it. I had another idea for a coworker. Anyway, yeah. Anybody
Well,
else?
Bam by
Bam?
Melanie.
Bam is a
Yes,
good one, but
Bam
Jen
is
or
great.
Becky hasn't read Bam.
I have not read Bam yet. I am making my way through Melanie Moreland, but apparently I have to go back now and read every stinking epilogue before the end of June. Like, I'm not going to even read the
Because
whole
you're-
book. I'm just going to read epilogues.
Because you're going to die
That's a lot of
in the
I mean
epilogue if you don't.
that's a lot of work.
It is a lot of work. I ain't
It's a
got
lot of
time
books,
for
but John
this.
Lane does the narration. So
I know.
there you go.
I know.
But no, the BAM series is really good. So it starts out with like these three friends who started the business and like they like have been friends for a long time, but they all have kind of traumatic backstories and they bond over their like not shared traumas, but their traumas, their past, and then it builds from there. So it ends up being a 7-book series, I think.
Yes, and then there's the spinoff, which is like the ABC Corp, which is like all their kids, not all their kids, because
No,
that's
there's like 30 kids.
yeah. Shoot, that was the series that she's like, I
had to stop.
There's
But
too
yeah,
many.
so but it's really good because like you get that core like 3, but then they like as like they get significant others and like the building or the business grows, like their found family expands as well.
Okay. The one I was thinking of was Nora Roberts, the bridal series.
Dang it, Becky, I had that for another one.
Oh, well, you can use it for another one.
I'm just kidding. That was the only one. I had that one under shared space.
Oh, it is. Yeah, it is. And I even have
That was
wedding
the only one I
planner
could
is
think
one
of
of the
for
prompts.
You do have
Yeah.
wedding planner as a prompt.
Yeah, that was the only one I could think of for shared space.
So. It's but I also think that that's one that they're coworkers too.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And they're also childhood friends. So
yeah. Well, and so I think sometimes it's easy to identify found family when there are no parental units still in play in relationships.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, because, and I don't know where you would put this one, but like Krista Sandor's Nanny series.
I have that one on my list.
I do too.
For what?
I just have it there because I think it's really great because they are these 4 guys who are in this unexpected new reality and have bonded over their new chaos. Rather, Madeline has created their bond for them. So they're a forced found family. But it works. I mean, there's this more of a situational one where it's like
shared space.
Well, like shared situation. Like it's not even shared space.
Yeah, because like all the heroines are friends,
like
right? Like they know each other
are 4
too.
friends. Yeah.
Yeah. So
is this Leah's like new thing? It's just the situation.
It is.
It's just the situation.
If they had not all been
is it a dynamic
parents, the dynamic of the change of their situations, then they like their relationship and friendships would not have occurred.
Right.
But by the end of and at the beginning of the series, they don't really like each other.
So
like, they do not get along.
They do not.
But
Those
by the end,
hate each other.
But by the end, like they're ride or die.
Yeah. So
I also had like outside of like the norm, like, you know, we're just talking about, we just added, like I added like college friends because when you're talking about getting away from the parental units, Like I think those like bonds like that people form in college because that's like their
Mhm.
first situation outside of parents,
Here's
and then they
that word again.
stay. Yeah.
The situation or the dynamic.
Oh, did I? Yes. So yeah. Okay.
Do you think a small town, we're totally going off script now.
That's
Do you
fine.
think small town leads more to a found family dynamic?
Not always. I think it is depends on the town.
I didn't know what to do with Butterfly Bayou by Lexi Blake.
I wouldn't say that's
Mm.
found family though, because they're more just friends.
Okay.
Like I love that town. I love that series,
But you don't think
but I
that's
don't
found
feel
family.
like there's that found family connection like there is in her Masters and Mercenaries.
Okay.
Like I feel like the dynamic
And the situations.
in the situations are different.
They're going to be the lookout while you're digging the hole
Yeah.
with
But
whoever.
they're not
I
necessarily
don't
digging the
feel
hole.
like,
Yeah.
I mean, they have Otis. They don't need to dig the holes,
Right.
but
The
I
alligator
don't,
can just eat.
I feel like book to book, like you can separate those books out. Like I
There's not
don't
a
feel
lot of
like you have to
carryover.
have like one, like you could have the hero and heroine from book 3 and they can be separate from everything. And I feel like the story would still be really well done, but you don't need those other characters. Like it just, they're friends.
That's fair. No, I think that's fair. It was just one that I think there are some of the books that have a found family vibe, but
Mhm.
I didn't feel like it was
But it's
definitely,
like that toes the line.
yeah. Okay, so my next suggestion in an area in which we see found family are rock stars. Now, I have to bring up a quandary for myself here before I get to the Rex. So, one of my favorite rock star worlds is Lauren Rose Morgan's, but because that encompasses the Reed Rivers and the crud, just the Smitten, and there's several
Swoon.
others. Swoon.
And then Rockstar, the one that's called Rockstar.
Well, he's a
Right,
Morgan
yeah.
brother.
Oh yeah, but okay.
So, but yes, there is that core of the Morgan family, but the rest
But
of the
you could
members,
one off those and it would be fine.
yeah. So
And
I feel like those are found family because they just keep adopting. Like once you're like, if you look at Reed Rivers, he's an ass in the Rockstar book. But you get his trilogy. He's still an ass in his trilogy. But by the end of his book and by the start of Smitten, you see that you could call him to pay someone to hide the body.
mhm.
Well, he's a billionaire. He's not getting his hands dirty.
He doesn't need to get his $1,000 loafers dirty.
Yeah.
I think he might want to though.
I mean, he would. I mean, he's kind of an
Yeah.
ass. He probably would. I don't know. I felt like that was a series that is rock stars, and there
I had that
are
on my list too.
absolute found family pieces.
Because you can take Smitten and Swoon totally separate and do those as found family by themselves without even connecting them to the rest
Right.
of the.
Well, if you just take the 22 Goat books, which are Rockstar, Swoon, Smitten,
Yeah.
those three feel very separate all on their own.
Well, but I don't think that you necessarily need to have like a huge grouping of books to have that found family vibe. Because this one you might argue with, but Ali Martinez from the Embers, yes, they have a shared trauma, but they create their own family unit before their relationship starts.
True.
Like, and it's a one and done. Like, there is nobody else around them. They don't have support. They don't have anything. Like, they have each other, like, and their kids. And then there's no books like that surrounded either. Like, it is a one-off book, but they've created this completely new element in their world.
Well, and I kind of felt that way about Mixtape by Brittany Cherry.
Oh, that's a good
Yeah,
one.
that's a good one. Yeah, I agree. I didn't even think of that one.
It's found family. I mean, her parents are trash.
Yeah.
And together, even before, because that's the slowest of slow ass burns, people.
But it works. It makes
It
sense.
does, but the slowest of slow burns.
But if it hadn't been the slowest of slow burns, then other things would have happened and we would be angry at it.
Probably. But that definitely, there becomes a community, a care.
Mm-hmm.
You know, those are the
Between the
people.
two of them, yeah.
Yeah. Well, and kind of the people that come out of the two of them too, you know, like the connections. Okay, Amanda, Rockstars. Other than I already stole the Morgans from you, so.
Oh, no, that's fine. I was also gonna say before I give my rec too, that I think Rockstars creates like a unique instance where it can also feel almost like family that you're stuck with, because in some instances, like you get band members that are not exactly like, they may not have been someone that you chose. Like you may get like management brings somebody in, or somebody else brings somebody in. I think it
Or
creates
they
like
go
that.
downhill and you want
Yeah.
to kick them out, but
What's
you can't.
the Allie Styles one we read, Jenny? That
Which one did
happens.
we read? We read the first. I
West.
can see the cover.
West or something.
Northwest or
Rising West.
Rising West.
Rising West. Yes,
Yeah.
it's Rising West.
So I think it just creates like I think it creates a whole new like set of circumstances when you get with Rockstars. But mine was Industrial November.
Oh, by Ophelia.
That's a good
Ophelia
one.
Martinez, because I don't know that those guys like always like each other, and
No,
you
they
know,
do not.
There's a lot of
but they're in this
toxicity in
band
that
together,
series.
and they're forced to be together because they're making music. And
But the women have
oh yeah,
to come together, even in book 3, even though she's like hazardous waste, toxic train wreck.
yeah.
But
Well,
it's okay by the end.
And that's
They
like
work
found
through it.
family in the sense that like for the family's benefit, like if you're looking at it as a band, like dude, you gotta stay sober. Like I need you, like we need you. So
Yeah.
like
It's
we're
found family
invested.
growth.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like I mean, we're not always happy with our real family, right?
Yeah, so that's why I was saying like the Rockstar element makes it almost like your DNA family.
Yeah. Zeo Axelrod's The Lilies. It's absolutely found family, but there's also shared trauma and shared expectations that come into play so far. We only have 2 of that series, so I'm still waiting for the next one. I know.
Well,
I
we
just
had to
got
wait
one.
forever and a year.
I know.
Amy, A.L. Jackson, her Falling Stars series. But Amy does found family fairly well. She does DNA family, but like there's always found family elements in her series too. But like that series is definitely a really well done found family with like the rock star element to it as well.
Julie Chris has a series called The Road Kings, and it's a really interesting take on rock stars. Because they were popular, but they were never like a grand band. They all they disband because they were always like a mid-lift and they had a bad reputation about them. And then they come back together now for like a reunion tour and have greater success than they've ever had. But they have all these different challenges now. And that's a really good example of found family that you don't always. Found family, I think, can take time away from each other and come back together. I don't think you have to constantly be in each other's business,
right?
For found family to work.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay, so next we're doing shared space. So someone mentioned ship cruise, like on a boat, I guess.
Well,
who's
or
on
like
a boat?
alien abductions. She's saying like,
oh,
well,
that's
because
Anna Hackett, like her Eon Warriors, actually her Galactic
I'm thinking like we're all out on a boat and we're a crew.
No, so
Yeah.
like in this Anna Hackett series, like the women like end up going to the other planet, and it's like their share, like they create this found family like bonding because they have been basically kidnapped from Earth and are like dropped into a world that they literally know nothing about.
Yeah.
But even like Ice Planet Barbarians, like the women like crash on Not Hoth or wherever the other one that they have, and it's like they create this family of their own because they don't have anybody else.
Yeah. And I didn't think about that. Susie's saying ships, and I'm thinking like, are we on a cruise ship? Who
Well,
wrote a
Stacy
cruise
said,
romance?
I think most sci-fi has found family, especially one grouping of people is abducted or the race is dying off.
Yeah. So shared space, and I would say this is a singular book that is a great example of found family, and that is Her Favorite Jack-o'-lantern by
Oh, that's a
Rebecca
good one.
Rennick. I feel like that's a great example of found family.
I like that book a lot.
And then my other suggestion is any of Stacey Kennedy's, like her Phoenix series or her Club Send series. Those are all sex club based. But they're not only calling you to hide the body, they're like claiming to be the naked man in the picture in the tabloid at the secret sex club so that they can cover for you so you don't get found out. Like, they're pretty badass like that. Anyway, Amanda, what are your shared space?
The only one I had was the Bride Quartet by Nora Roberts. So
That's
that's
good.
the only.
So here's another one, because I made you read one of the books in the series, and the next book comes out at the end of the week. The Carolina Classics by Karen Gray.
Oh,
Because they're all on
yeah.
TV sets. It's TV sets.
That's true. I didn't even think about that, but yeah, that's a really good one.
Because they're all like childhood friends that have kind of messed up family, and now they're getting like Hollywood people into their.
Yeah, and they're all tied to this movie set. Yeah, that's a really good one. I didn't even think about that.
Okay, I'll let you have that one too.
Thanks. You let me have that one. Yeah, that was all I had.
Leah, what do you
For that.
have for shared space, sex club, wedding planners?
Well, I feel like an MC romance is often found family, and they have their shared spaces like their clubhouse. So I have Jeannie St. James. She has actually multiple like MC romances, but then I also have where did it go? I don't know, Lane Hart, her Savage Kings MC. Because like like sometimes there are blood relatives in the MCs, but like they're like the bond itself is over the MC. It's like itself, like the
Yeah.
motorcycle club. So
Jenny, what do you have for shared space, found family?
I got it's a single book, Next of Kin by Bowen Young.
That's on my
'Cause-
list too, yeah.
Yeah, because they're sharing an apartment. Like, I mean, that's pretty much the premise of the book. Like, he needs a place to live and she needs income. So, yeah.
Yeah. That's such a great book. If you guys haven't read that or Out on a Limb yet, what are you doing? Go read them. The audiobooks are in Hoopla. They're really good. They're really good.
I believe you. I just have to put it in somewhere.
Well, if I would stop making you read other things, you mean?
Yes. Yes, or I would just stop going down rabbit holes because that's really just what's happening to me when I have free time. So
rabbit holes are the best.
Well, and I was the crazy person the night that I had the interview with Hannah, and she was like, yeah, I think Friday is the last day to get the original Out on a Limb cover. I ordered it twice.
Thank you.
So now, because I was like, Jenny, did you get a cut? She's like, got it. I got it.
I bought one that night.
You bought one that night too.
Yeah. And I think actually Gretchen actually recommended that same book. When I asked people on Instagram for Found Family, she recommended, I think, both of those books.
They're really good.
So.
Let me see. Do I have any other shared space? No, not really. Okay, and we already talked about, do you think DNA family? Is there any found family romance that you didn't get to talk about that you really feel we need to make sure is mentioned in a found family episode?
I mean, I have a lot, so I'll just make a blog post.
You just make a
We
blog
do
post.
like one each.
Yeah,
just one or two.
Yeah, go ahead. Tell me, what do you have?
So I had The Tuesday Club by Lulu Moore.
Mm-hmm.
So it's 3 friends. It's a billionaire series, but you read The Suit, right?
I read the
The
first
Secret
2.
and The Suit.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So they're 3 friends who get to be friends in college, and it carries on into their adult life, and they're best friends. They all do different things. They're like ride or die for each other. And then on top of that, like their significant others create like a girl gang with each other, and that carries over into the baseball series. And they continue the girl gang into the baseball series. So it's a really big tie-in with found family, I think, from the college group, which was like the other thing that I had on my list. And the other one, which is also college friends, is The Ladies Who Brunch by Harlow James. So it's the four girlfriends who get to be really close in college. They stay friends. They're all in, I think it's San Francisco. They're in a big city too. So, and then they just kind of like go through all life together. I mean, some of them have okay families and some of them have terrible families, but it's like when they need something, they're calling each other. So yeah, those were my two like big ones, and they were like the only thing that kind of tied them in is they were like college friends.
Yeah, and see, it's interesting because I never felt that girl gang feel with Lulu, and I just felt like the guys were friends with that Tuesday club. But I didn't read the third book, so maybe the third book.
Yeah, and
because
so
the
third
first
book
book
is
has the heavy of his family
yeah,
in it. So
which ties into the hockey series before.
right.
So yeah, you don't get the girl gang kind of starts in book one of the baseball series.
Okay.
So and it carries through.
So just
that
kind of
way.
like her world has some found family
Yeah,
vibes.
I think it's mostly those two together
Yeah.
create that found family.
I thought that's interesting because that wasn't necessarily the vibe I got when I read it. So, and I do think
Yeah.
there's some subjective nature to the idea of found family. Okay, Leah, what were you gonna say, Amanda?
I was just say, yeah, I agree with that.
Leah, what do you got for found family that we didn't mention that's part of your list that has dynamics and situations?
Okay, so I have Gemma Westbrook, which is Janice Whittaker's romantic suspense name, and her Alaskan security team Rogue. All of the men, like, they work together, like they create a bond in the team, but it is the women that actually are more of a found family element than the men in this series, because like the men, like, they bond over their like manliness and all those things, but like the women and the girl gang that she creates in that series is really like the the best dynamic.
So I've read two
In
of
it.
those. Does it take time then to come with that dynamic for the women?
Yeah, it does.
Yes.
I'd say by like book 4
Okay.
is where it really like starts to build, because you have to wait till there's more females there. So like she just wrote the last book in that series, like she's spinning off into one of the other teams. But by the end of the series, like you definitely feel that found family, like girl gang vibe, because like it is the women who bond, the women who like rule the world
See,
up there.
I think that's one of the things with found family. Like I felt it in book 1 of Menahaven, but oftentimes it does take
It sometimes takes some time to build and create.
So okay, Jenny, what else do you have? Found family that
Are you ready to be shocked?
Yes.
I have thoughts,
am.
but go for it. Who
Yeah.
you got?
Yeah. Knitting in the City
I had
by
that one
Penny
too.
Reed. Yeah. I mean, they're a group of
Shocking.
knitters and a crocheter that they're just an odd group of people. Like I do not feel like they would become friends just like walking down the street or
Yeah.
meeting at a coffee shop or something.
It's true, because they're an eclectic group.
Yeah. Yeah, they're odd.
So, Amanda, have you read Wrong and Right and I can't think of what the other one is by Jana Aston? Have you read those?
No, I haven't.
Because so to me, those are similar to like that to the Tuesday Club, and I questioned whether or not they were found family because there is a girl gang.
I don't
Yeah,
feel like
and I
those
think
ones
you
are
don't
quite
get, I
so
don't think
much
you get
though.
the found family in Lulu's until book 3,
Okay.
because there's a lot of big stuff that happens in book 3 where you get more of that, like these guys are like ride or die for each other, like past their friendship, and then that's when
So, do you think
the
in found
third.
family, as I'm posing a question, we're supposed to be like wrapping up?
Oh, whoops.
No, it's okay. Do you think that it's more like it can be just the girl gang or the guy the guy gang, or does it need to be everybody kind of comes together as the ride or die? Can it be segmented like that?
I think so.
I think it needs to be one significant group, like the men or the women. I don't feel like it can be a mishmash of like all of them. Like that found family, I feel like it has to be one full set of heroines or one full set of heroes, where it's like there can be some overlap, but the core of the group needs to be one side of the relationship.
Because like with like sports teams, it's going to be the athletes, right?
Typically, yeah. But like in The Vengeance, though, like with Sawyer, you have like the athlete side, but you have the girl side as well. And it's like there's two separate entities that overlap when they need to.
Yeah, and I think even Jocelyn's in her Dark Knights, like the three heroines are they form their own little tight-knit group outside of the team too.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it maybe just depends on how you feel when you read it.
Probably. Yeah. And I'm not trying to say anyone's book is not found family. Everybody's book can be whatever you want it to be.
It's like a micro trope. Like
yeah. I think it just depends
anything.
like when you're reading. Yeah. And like you said, I think a lot of books can be found family to somebody.
Yeah. I just wonder, like, I don't know, how many books does it take to be found family?
I think it just depends on the series and the author and the way that like the characters are portrayed.
Would you say In a Jam is found family? It's a single standalone.
But it's a fake relationship that like
I mean, there's a DNA element to it, but
but like if it wasn't for that fake relationship, like they wouldn't have had the connection that they did. So I feel like,
but they become a gang. I mean, and I feel like and their love is more than romantic love. And she has her friends, her girlfriends.
I feel like that one's in the gray.
I'm asking because, you know, we need to talk about all the
I can see why
things.
some people, I think that some people would say yes, like categorically yes.
And I wonder if we had more books in that, if that was like a series, if we had more books, if we would think that it was found family.
Yes, I think so.
I agree. I feel like it's the start of a really like dynamic.
There is potential for a found family.
Okay.
There's potential.
Yeah. Okay. So those are our book recs. You can find them on our On the Shelf show notes at buzzingaboutromance.com. New segment. Can you guess the book? Each week, we will share a quote from a recent or popular Buzzing About Romance read. You have the chance to email us your guess at quote@buzzingaboutromance.com, and we will announce the correct guess on next week's show. Last week's quote: if you could be a fairy princess or a hot dog, which one would you pick? And we did give the hint that we had mentioned the author in the episode last week. Gretchen got the author correct. She sent me an email and says, is it Krista Sandor? And it is a Krista Sandor book. Because who else is going to be talking about princesses and hot dogs?
Our delightful Krista, who's dancing on TikTok now.
Hot dog princess.
Hot dog princess. She needs to put a hot dog costume on and a tiara for a TikTok.
I'll text her and let her know.
You should. So the title of the book that quote was from is The Nanny and the Nerd, which is book 1 in the Nanny Match series. Gretchen, I spent way too much time searching Krista's books. I would have even taken the, is it Sebastian Love Guarantee?
Yes. Sebastian Guarantee.
The Sebastian Guarantee, which is
Phoebe's book.
I would have taken that one too.
Because she is the hot dog princess.
She is. Okay, so this week's quote. The end of you and Becca was the minute you slipped a ring on another woman's finger. I don't tell him that I never slipped anything on anyone. I don't tell them anything because the only person who is going to get my truth is Becca. Here is a hint.
I think this is too easy of a hint.
Yeah.
I think it gives it away.
You don't think I need to give a hint?
I don't think you need a hint this week.
Okay.
Because if you say this hint, you're going to have like 17 people.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's your hint. That the
Right.
hint was
I just want to
obvious.
say, guys, I was going to be the nice person and give a hint. And
I
these
think
people
they can
said
figure
no.
it out just by the ranting about the hint.
I mean, like even the little hint that I gave underneath, I shouldn't say that first part.
No.
Okay. Okay, guys, I was going to give a hint. So if you know what book this quote is from, the end of you and Becca was the minute you slipped a ring on another woman's finger. I don't tell him that I never slipped anything on anyone. I don't tell them anything because the only person who is going to get my truth is Becca. So,
Yes,
oh,
Gretchen, we will give you a hint on Wednesday if nobody replies.
okay, so just email me if you think you know what book that is from and what author, or if you just think you know the author. But just remember, I wanted to give a hint. So guess what time it is?
It's that time.
It's that
for
time.
book
Book
of
of the
week.
week. Book of the week time. Okay, this is the only person that didn't write anything down. Do they want me to come back to them?
No,
She's
I
writing
She's
it right
writing it
now.
right now.
Okay.
She is literally typing as
Oh.
we talk.
Yes.
Jenny, what's your book of the week?
Boss Me, Synergy Office Book 4, which I talked about earlier. This is Cooper. He is one of the main guys that started the company. And he's had some a love interest that has not returned his feelings, and ends up with his assistant, who is also a male, so that brings some tension.
Okay. You're in your male era, aren't you?
I am.
I'm
I'm enjoying it.
Go you. Leah, what's your book of the week? I had to think of your
My
name.
book of the week
Situation.
is
Leah,
Claim Me
the
Forever
situation.
by A.L. Jackson. This is book 3 in her Time River series. I finally read it. I mean, granted, it just came out, but I wasn't in a good headspace. But this one, the cadence and the flow of the book was a little bit different, and I really enjoyed it. It's still Amy. It is still her natural formula for her books, but it flowed a little bit differently, and I really enjoyed this one. This one is my favorite out of the series so far.
Oh, okay. Those are big words.
It is big words, but I really like this one the most.
Amanda, what's your book of the week?
Okay, so I did one of those 12 for 12, have 12 friends pick you 12 books for the year.
Okay.
So I was trying to get new books, and my friend Erin actually recommended Pick 6 by Maggie Rodden. So that was my first book by her. It's book 1 in her Seattle Phantom football series. It's NFL, and it's fake dating. So, but there's actually there's a novella on Maggie's website. It's called Defensive End that I would recommend reading first. You don't have to, but it adds a whole little special element to the story that I wasn't expecting.
Okay.
So I really liked it. They have really good chemistry, and I'm just I just lost their names in my brain, and I didn't
I've
write it
heard
down.
good things about that series.
Is
I
it
have not read
angsty?
her either.
It is a little, because they have a history, and then he is actually her ex-husband's client, her
Ex-husband's
his
the
agent.
agent.
Oh.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh.
Yes. So it's angsty in that sense. But they have really good chemistry. There's a whole dining room scene that I was
Okay.
like,
You won't look
oh
at a
my
table the
goodness.
same again.
So yeah,
You're not
I mean,
eating dinner
and
at their house, are you?
Becky needs some
no,
lights.
no.
Bring out the Clorox.
Give me
No,
the
and it's her house with her ex-husband, or it's
Ooh, even better.
so there's this whole dynamic, and I just I'm totally brain farting on what their
All
names
I
are.
can think about is the song, the Shaggy song, Wasn't Me.
Wasn't me.
Wasn't me.
Was it you on the counter? Wasn't me.
Wasn't me.
Anyway.
So anyway, I really liked it. It was my first book by her, and I'll definitely read the rest of that series.
That's
so.
totally a song that should be in a romance book playlist, though.
It should be.
Oh yeah.
Made
Alex
for
and Harper
Romeo.
are their
Maybe that's a
names.
made for
Okay.
Romeos.
Oh, I like the name Harper.
Yeah, it's Alex and Harper
Harper.
are the names. So
my book of the week is Callum by Sawyer Bennett. I had a early advance copy of it in the audio. Jason Clark reads the audio with Lessa
Oh, I like me
Lamb.
some Jason Clark.
It was dynamic. It's really angsty. It's emotional. Content trigger warnings. If I didn't know that Sawyer Bennett had like a pretty big emotional year, I would have been emailing her asking who hurt her. Because the last 2 books have like, really
Ripped
the
you
last
apart.
3 have been like uber emotional. Because you had
Wow.
Bane, and then we just had Boone, and you got Van in there a little bit, and now Callum, like,
I mean, she's had a tough year.
she's had a tough year. It's some roughness, but it's okay. It was really good. Highly recommend it. It comes out in I think it's on her website later this week, and then 1st of March for everywhere.
Yeah, 'cause
Okay.
she always does a week ahead on her website.
Yeah. Okay. Patreon update. It's like new news, right? We're gonna like, okay.
It's not gonna catch on quite the same.
I think it will. Welcome, newest member Susan. We are super excited to have you here. We cannot wait to have you join us for Buzzing About Romance exclusive events like book club. Welcome to the Hive.
Welcome to our chaos.
Welcome to the chaos. Are you ready for this, Leah? Are you ready for all this?
I'm ready.
Are you ready? Okay,
I'm
hang on
ready.
tight, people. Swag packs have landed. Hey, romance enthusiasts. We're busting with excitement to share some fabulous news with you.
You wrote bursting, not even busting.
Oh, I said
Bursting.
Bursting. Yeah. We're bursting with excitement to share some fabulous news with you. Brace yourself, because the highly anticipated swag packs for February have landed. This month's packs were sponsored by authors Brenda Rothert, Melanie Moreland, and Calla Riley. As proud sponsors of the Fancy Drink, Cold Brew, and Queen Bee tier, we can't wait for you to dive into this exclusive treasures nestled within. Each swag pack jam-packed
Makes it dirty.
with romance-themed stickers, mood reader cards, and other delightful surprises will be dispatched around the 10th of each month. The best part? We're spreading the love globally, so international shipping is happily on the house. Just a heads up, this awesome perk is a monthly affair. If you happen to join our Patreon family after the 10th, your inaugural swag pack will be on its way the following month. But that's not all. Hold on tight, people. Being part of our Patreon community unlocks a treasure trove of perks for you alongside these fantastic swag packs. You also gain access to exclusive episodes and the chance to dive into the captivating world of Buzzing Book Club.
Hey, can I just say something real quick?
Yes.
So next month's swag pack, if I can get it to Becky in time, it's going to have a coloring page. But it's really good, people.
It's really good. It might not go till April because March is a little different.
Well, and also, I haven't finished them.
I was going to say,
I have to print them.
Leah
and
has to
mail
print them and ship them.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, but it's coming, people, and it's a good one.
Okay. Keen on staying in the loop with all of our happenings? Check out our event calendar at bookcaseandcoffee.com/events. We got a lineup of exciting gatherings, including happy hours, IG lives, and book clubs, eagerly awaiting for you to join the festivities. Get ready to be swept away by the romance and enjoy the perks of being cherished members of our Patreon community. Cheers to the love of romance and all things delightful. Wait, I wrote a fancy outro for you, Leah.
But wait, there's more.
There's more. We're not done.
But wait, there's more.
And with that heartwarming exploration of found family, we reach the end of another delightful episode of Buzzing About Romance. Thank you, listeners, for joining us on our journey through the tender moments, unbreakable bonds, and the enduring power of love that extends beyond romance. If you enjoyed today's episode, don't forget to subscribe, rate, and leave a glowing review. Your support means the world to us. As we bid adieu, Remember that it is the vast tapestry of our lives. Our found family plays a symphony of love that resonates in our hearts. Stop laughing.
I can't even finish it.
Until next time, keep your heart open, your pages turning. And let the magic of romance continue to weave its spell. Wishing you all the love and happily ever afters in the world. The end. Anyway, thanks everyone for joining our episode.
Until next time, happy reading, everybody.
Good night. Okay, I think we're done. Happy reading, everybody.